Hey there, scientists. Today, we are talking hydroponics. Welcome back, scientists. I am Mr. Steier, and this is Mr. Steier's Classroom. Today, you are going to conduct an investigation to determine if plants can grow without soil. If we think back to some of our previous lessons, you can remember that we know there are three things that plants need in order to be able to survive. Say them with me. The first one is sunlight. The second one is air. And the third one is water. So if we have sunlight, air, and water, we know that a plant can survive. And that is what we're investigating today. From a previous episode, you may remember our friend Ernesto here. All right, so we talked about we have this plant, and you might recall him. He was there to help us out and to help us understand the process of photosynthesis and what all plants need in order to survive. Well, I took some cuttings of the stem of Ernesto, and this would be the first step that you could do in order to investigate this possibility of hydroponics. And all I did was I used this pitcher and I just dropped those stems right in this pitcher of water. Now, what I'm going to be looking for is when I take my time to investigate and look closely, I'm going to look to see if one, these leaves are surviving in just this water, and two, I'm going to be looking to see if the stems start to root, if any roots start to grow off of these stems in any of the places. And that could be an indication to me that the plant is able to easily survive in water, that hydroponics is a functional process for plant survival. The other option we can look at today is to start a plant from seed, and to see if we can get that plant from seed to also grow hydroponically, only using water and not using soil. So in order to do that experiment, one of the things you're going to need is you're going to need a water bottle. You're going to need some type of seeds. I am using lima bean seeds. You're going to need some string. Now, you're going to want to make sure that you have kind of a natural cord, so something that would work this way. You might be able to get by with using a sponge, something that will be able to move water the way that a stem would. You're going to need some cotton balls, and you're obviously going to need some water. So with those things, we should be able to create a hydroponic environment and to see if we can get a seed to grow without using soil. Because remember, our goal today is that you can conduct an investigation to determine if plants can grow without soil. Now, before we jump into it, what questions are we trying to answer? I just said it. We are trying to answer, can plants grow without soil? As we do this, you're going to have to look at your plant on a daily basis just to make certain that things will work. If you don't have bean seeds, you can really try this with any seed. The larger the seed, the easier it will be. But you might be able to find seeds outside right now as our plants are drying out. You might be able to find some flower seeds and even try to grow those hydroponically just to see what happens. All right, step one is we are starting with our water bottle and a pair of scissors. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go just around the top neck of the water bottle, and we're gonna cut that off so that I have these two separate pieces, and this piece can actually act as a funnel and set right inside of my water bottle. Now, You can see mine is popping up here. Later on, if I want to, I can tape this down just so it doesn't move. But I might want to be able to remove this later so I could add water to my plant. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab a small handful of cotton balls, and we're actually going to be spreading those out. We want to give those so they have a nice surface area in order to be able to hold our seed in place and make sure that our seed can have some air. All right. Okay, got my cotton balls spread apart. And then what I'm looking at here is a cord of rope. All right. So again, I'm going to take my scissor and I'm just going to cut my rope. I want my rope long enough that it will dip into my water bottle, and that it can come through the hole of the cap. So it should look something like this. All right, something like that. You got your rope that goes down into where the water is going to be. And then you have your rope that comes into the cap. And what this is going to act as, a stem, and the water is going to move up the stem, and it's going to keep our cotton balls. It's going to keep our cotton balls up there wet, so that this can be where our seed is held and our seed can grow. And the rope will move the water up in order to keep it so it constantly has water. Because again, we know it needs air, it needs water. And then I'll have to put it someplace safe to have sunlight. All right. So now what I'm doing is I'm just going to add some of my water down here. I want it about 1/4 of the way full, so I'm going to stop about right there. Then I'm going to take out one of my seeds. So there's my bean seed right there. And I'm just going to gently place it inside. Just want to make sure I don't shove it down into the water, but I want to make certain that it is held in place in there. And then I am taking a little bit of that water to start with and placing it on top of my cotton balls so that they are wet. I can see that my excess water is dripping down into my reservoir on the bottom down there. And now I'm going to take this. I'm going to give it its third thing that it needs, which is sunlight. I'm going to set it in the sunlight. And then I'm going to monitor it. I'm going to look at it over the next couple of days, and I'm going to see what changes are made. Again, I'm using a bean seed, but you can really try this experiment with any seed because you're trying to investigate here. You are a scientist. You want to know, can a plant grow without soil? Can you use water only and get a plant to grow? All right, that is your big question of the day. Record your data, think like a scientist, and be prepared to share out. Can you grow a plant without water? Thank you for investigating with me today. I am Mr. Steier, and this is Mr. Steier's Classroom. I will see you later, scientists. Bye.